Okay, 2.5 minutes in, and I've said 0 words. Um, Obviously, the title of this is related to Final Cut Pro coming to the iPad. Finally, it's not only Final Cut Pro. There's also Logic Pro. I just I don't really use Logic Pro, so it's not something that's as relevant to me. But um, this has been a pretty oh, why is my screen not switching? Oh boy. Okie dokie. Um there's my face. Hello. Let's see what's up with this Chrome. Okay. There we go. So as you can see in the Verge article, it's finally coming to iPad. It's coming to any of the M1 iPads or later. Which again, this has felt very inevitable. I'm a little disappointed that there's going to be a subscription tied to it. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'd say I'm disappointed. I shouldn't be, considering that with a product like this, you should probably expect a company to just get whatever money they can. But like it says here, Final Cut Pro normally costs $300. So I would have thought that at least until maybe a new version comes out, or until they kind of remodel it, or whatever, that maybe just having the app on the iOS App Store would just kind of be included if you already had um, purchased it, because I have it on Mac OS. And um, I don't know, you paid $300 for something, and you would hope that if it comes to another platform, that that would just kind of be part of it. So it's not. And I can imagine that part of it would be because it's not just a direct port from from Mac OS. Like, it's at bringing it to iPad. Not only is there it's just an entire different interaction interface for it. So I mean, you're primarily using your finger or a pencil or something like that. So touch targets have to be bigger. There has to be all sorts of very precise pencil stuff added to it, which a lot of it is just kind of in the iOS framework. But making that work in a way that isn't clumsy in an iPad OS app is it's a lot harder than you might think. So, or than than I would probably think, or a lot of people would think. And it just um and the more I think about it, it is reasonable to have a separate price for it, because it really is a completely different app with all the touch controls and all those kind of things. And honestly, $5 a month, sure, that doesn't feel great. $50 a year feels a lot better. That's probably the route that I'll go when it comes out on May 23rd. That's only 2 weeks away. That's pretty cool. I guess they announced it 2 weeks from now, and I think let's see, WWDC should be coming up pretty soon. So I would imagine that they're going to be talking a lot about this, and this has a lot to do with it. June 5th. So it's what, 12 days, 13 days, 2 weeks, I guess, before WWDC starts. So that makes sense. Obviously they want to get this. I'm sure it'll be a big talking point, so they want to get this out and have developers and actual creators and stuff being able to actually play with it in the wild before it gets to WWDC. So it's really cool. I'm very excited about it. I'm interested to see. I haven't really looked too deep into like the details for what they said, but I'm interested to see kind of how projects sync across Mac OS and iPad OS. Like, if I start a project on my Mac, is there any sort of can I edit it from my iPad? Is there do the files stay locally on my Mac, and then I can access them from there, and you're just editing on that same timeline? I don't know. It's very, very interested to see kind of how that works out. Of course, my son wants to wake up right now, right when I start doing this. But I don't know. I'm interested to see just kind of see how it all works, the experience as a whole. I've used DaVinci Resolve on my iPad, and it works really, really well. I really like the iPad app for DaVinci, and I haven't even really used it much on just want me to install that update. I haven't really used it much the on my iPad Pro, but the LumaFusion I've used for a little bit on my iPad Pro, and I really like that. That was kind of the first, um, maybe not the first, but it was for me at least it was the first like full featured video editing app that I used on the iPad Pro. I edited like multiple like client projects on there that worked out really well, and so that was kind of somewhat of a foundation for kind of what a full featured iPad app could look like, and so I don't know. I'm excited to see what that looks like. I think there's a lot of people that are gonna be really excited about the Logic Pro edition. A lot of musicians and things like that. I'm interested by my buddy Jordan Landers. I'm Lamont, whatever you're calling yourself now. That was mean. I don't, Landers, whatever. Um, yeah, you'd be interested in the Logic Pro aspect of it. Lamont Landers is like a stage name. I didn't mean that in a bad way. It's my buddy, but I think Logic Pro is gonna be pretty sweet. It looks from what I've always heard from people that are in that industry making beats and stuff like that. It's like an iPad app would be really sick, and just like being able to the finger input and things like that would be great for making beats and those kind of things. So I think it's two big announcements. I think the Logic Pro price was it doesn't say. So that's interesting. So both of them are $4.99 or a month or $50 a year, but Logic Pro on Mac is $100 cheaper than Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro. That's weird. Speaking of Premiere Pro, I was tweeting about it a minute ago. I think Adobe missed a pretty massive opportunity to kind of capitalize on iPad video editing apps with Premiere Pro. I think Premiere Pro has had all sorts of issues, but at least their recent updates have been more stable and have been more designed for like M1 and ARM processors. But I think sorry, I just got distracted. I think a few years ago they came out with Adobe Rush, and it just I don't know. It was very half baked. It did the same stuff that it did on Mac, which was cool to kind of have feature parity on those things, but it just didn't do enough. Like it was a very basic. There were so many other apps that you could get on an iPad or even an iPhone, like CapCut and all these kind of quick little apps with templates and things like that kids can make TikToks with. We're doing way more than Adobe Rush was in a much more easy fashion. And you didn't even need an Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. So I don't know. I just really think Adobe kind of screwed the pooch on that. And I think if things like Lightroom and Photoshop weren't around, and there are replacements for all of those things, I'm kind of considering transitioning out of the Adobe suite of apps. I think it's it's inexpensive. It's like $60 a month or something, and I haven't really used it much lately. But now I'm kind of to the point where like I'm scared to cancel it because I just have so many photos and things backed up in Lightroom. So if anything, I feel like I'll probably kind of you could downgrade the plan to the like kind of the photo only plan, so I don't have to pay for Premiere Pro and stuff, because I have kind of switched to Final Cut, especially now that it's gonna be on iPad too, because my iPad is kind of my primary mobile computer. I kind of replaced my old MacBook Pro. I mean, it was a 2013 2014 MacBook Pro, but replaced it with a 2021 M1 iPad Pro 12.9 inch. It's beast. It's been doing everything I need it to, and I'm gonna keep going with it, and even more so when things like Final Cut Pro get added. So that'll be cool. I'm excited. There's finally starting to be kind of some action in the tech space. Tomorrow is Google I/O. Obviously I'm not in the Android world right now, at least kind of as my primary phone. I need a haircut. But I got my Pixel 6 Pro here. I still can mess around with it. I was playing with it the other day. I still really do like kind of how the style of these phones. I know they weren't obviously, it's just a slab of black glass on there, but I like that kind of the two tone. You can't really see it, but it's kind of a darker gray here. You got a lighter gray there, split with the black kind of a Star Trekky visor there. But I don't know. Other than it being like kind of so slippery, it's pretty cool. But I still love Android. I still love Google, and have in arm's reach have Nexus 5 and uh I'm sorry, not Nexus. Man, long live the days of Nexus, but Pixel 5 and Pixel 6 Pro. So I'm interested to see what they talk about. I know Pixel 8 probably not until the fall. It's usually kind of an October release. Google I/O obviously much more targeted towards developers, but it does seem like this year there's going to be some hardware release, which hasn't happened quite as much lately. But they pretty much showed off the Pixel Fold the other day, which is very, very exciting. Um, I think foldables are really cool. I obviously don't have one, but that is definitely kind of what I see coming into kind of the next phase of not what's the next version of a phone, but I think that's we've had these slabs of glass for a decade and a half now, and hasn't been a whole lot of innovation. You can look at all iPhones for the last decade have been pretty similar. So, like with most things, I think once Apple actually um, comes out with a foldable of their own, or something of that nature, things will actually kind of pop off. Samsung's been doing some really awesome things, and companies like Oppo and some international companies have been doing really cool stuff. But it is great to see Google get into it. I feel like a lot of the times they are a little bit late to the game. Samsung is a little bit more innovative in a lot of that sense, but um, but I don't know. I think from what they showed of the Pixel Fold, I really like the style of it. It's not quite as tall as the Galaxy Fold, which is a really cool looking phone that I've really only played with at like Best Buy or something. But I've seen it a couple. I feel like I've seen a lot more of the Z Flips like out in the wild. Like that's a more um, kind of a more approachable phone for people to get if they as cool as it is to have a phone that flips open like that, like a book. I feel like all too often that's how you want to use it, and it's not quite as easy, especially in Samsung's case. The tall, slender kind of candy bar style of old isn't quite as usable as they may like, and it's still almost I don't know. Again, haven't used it day to day, but just not quite as full featured and good of an experience as you would want. So I think with what Google's doing with the Pixel Fold, it seems to be um, a little bit more squared off on the front, a little boxier to be honest, which isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. Um, but that will. I'm really interested to see kind of how flat it closes, because they didn't in the images it didn't really. What happens when I do that? Oh, that's making my computer go crazy. They didn't really show what it looked like totally closed, but it does seem to be like relatively flat. Um, of course, see right there they show it where it's already kind of started to be open, so you wonder what are they hiding. But either way, I like that they're kind of still keeping the same design language on the back with the camera bar. They seem to have really kind of bought in with that, which I think ever since they've switched from Pixel or from Nexus to Pixel, they've tried to stick with the design language for at least 3 or 4 years. I know with the original Pixel, they kind of stuck with that same design until the Pixel 4, and then Pixel 5 was really just a one off, kind of in every sense. Like this phone, uh, this phone just doesn't really make sense. Like what my mouth. Like to this day, this phone doesn't really make sense. I, it was definitely a time where they knew that the Google Silicon was the Tensor chips were right around the corner, but they weren't quite ready. So this was very much like a budget one off. Um, I think this phone was like 699 or something. It's a little over 5 inches, very small, or not 5 inches, probably six, but um, it's it just didn't make a lot of sense. I got it because I needed a new phone at the time and knew that it was going to be a short term thing until I went with the Pixel 6. Um, so that's that design language. It was still kind of in the same Pixel 4-ish ilk. Now that I think about it, the Pixel 4 and Pixel 5 were kind of similar. Pixel 3, 1, 2, 3 were very similar. I only had the first two, and then 5, 6. Anyways, I'm excited to see what they do kind of with the Pixel Fold. As you can see, my son is, maybe you can't see, I don't know. My son's waking up, so that sucks. But so Pixel Fold will likely be announced. I bet it won't go on sale for a while, maybe, but looks like 5.8-inch display when it's closed is a good size, and it being squared off. 7.6 inches when it's unfolded, same as the Z Fold 4. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see what kind of power the Tensor G2 chip pushes out. That's the same as the Pixel. Okay, so same as the Pixel 7. So I wonder if the Tensor G3 will be on the Pixel 8. Like, are they gonna? That's weird. I wonder if that kind of makes. Yeah, you hate to pay $1,700 for a phone that has what would kind of be viewed as last year's chip. I haven't read a lot of the rumors with the Pixel 8 so far, but if there's a G3 chip coming out, you would kind of like to see it in the super expensive foldable. $1,700, man. That's a lot for an entry price, because you think you add storage or something, you're pushing $2,000. You could get a MacBook Air for that. MacBook base level MacBook Pro for $19.99, I think. Pixel tablet is another kind of interesting device. Like, I think they really are going to announce a lot more hardware than they have lately. The budget's Pixel 7a, but the Pixel tablet is one that's been shown off for a little bit, at least kind of teased last year at either at I/O or when they announced the Pixel 7. But it's going to be, kind of have some Nest Home Hub capabilities, in the sense that there will be a dock where this can magnetically attach to it and become, kind of a home hub device and control all your hard home things. I think there's even kind of a like a specific home, like, UI that comes up when you put it on the dock, similar to a home hub. So it just kind of automatically goes into that with, larger images or and kind of a screensaver type, photos and stuff going by. And kind of like the Echo Show. I think that's, charging dock and speaker, like the Echo Show. So it'll be similar to that. And I think Apple's kind of working on something similar like that would work with, iPad Pros or iPads in general, because they do kind of already have magnets and stuff built in for the smart cases and things like that. So I don't know. That'll be interesting. I may try a live stream during the event tomorrow. What time is the event tomorrow? Hey, yeah, I'm very excited to see what Google says about AI tomorrow. A preview of Google Pixel 8 and 8 Pro. That'll be cool. I don't know anything about what's coming with the 8 Pro. So it doesn't say anything about the Tensor G3. So I wonder, I can't imagine that they'll still stick with the G2 from last year. So the event is tomorrow. So it's 1 p.m. Eastern, so noon. I wish it was 1 p.m. Central, so I'll put my son down right then. So I may not be able to live stream it, but maybe I do want to live stream in general tomorrow. So maybe that'll be what I talk about. But who knows? Either way, my son is waking up now, so I gotta go get him, and that'll do it for a quick little 20-minute stream. Really about 18, 17 minutes of actual talking. 22-minute stream. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said before, I'm just gonna kind of get on here and ramble sometimes. Today just happened to be pretty specific to tech stuff, because there actually is stuff going on, which is great. It's easy to talk about and fun. So I keep looking over here because that's where my OBS thing is. Maybe I need to change. I don't know. I can figure this out. I don't like looking away from where the camera is, but either way, that will do it. And Hope everybody's doing well out there. Hope everybody's having a good week. It's very hot here in Alabama already, and I am over it. So I'm gonna go wake my son up and